Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Pit Lane Yappers. Today we're going to be recapping the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, also known as Baku. I'm Lex.
I'm Reagan.
I'm Haley.
I'm Mox.
And I'm Tay.
Now, before we get into the weekend, I know Mox has some very exciting details of the
we
weekend.
won it, guys. We won it. We won the Adrian Newey War. Literally, I was in physical therapy when it was announced, and I cried. My physical therapist was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "We got Adrian Newey."
James Vowles needed to work a little bit harder to take him home.
Well, did you see the Team Torque? Did you see the Team Torque episode? They had no money for him.
Listen,
he put all of his energy into Carlos.
Listen,
Carlos,
all
I
bit
have
harder
to say,
with Adrian.
Yeah.
Is that Lauren Stroll said that they're working for 2026, not 2025, and Adrian Newey said he's speaking with Max, which means they want Fernando, and the rumor is they want Fernando and Max for 2026, and they want Lance to go to WEC with the Valkyrie, which is kind of crazy because if you've seen Fernando Alonso posts, he's posted his Valkyrie about 20 times.
Yeah.
So he loves that car. But
yeah,
I will be very happy if I get Fernando and Max in one team.
I think Lance would actually do really well in WEC.
I do too.
Endurance racing.
Anyways, now also Kevin Magnussen had a race ban.
So he was not present.
Ollie Behrman was in for Haas and for K-Mag.
All I know.
He did so well.
Sergeant Karma. I love Logan Karma. Every single tongue that rises against Logan Sargent shall fall. And
yep.
I will be there.
All I know is
be there every time.
Front row.
I didn't see the announcement. All I saw was Lex just texted Logan Karma, and I went, "Oh, K-Mag got a race ban." Immediately. I didn't even have to look. I knew. That's it for the beginning, like before.
Yeah. Overall weekend notes.
FP1, Charles was in the wall.
Yeah. Anon, please.
Also, there was a point in time at the very beginning of practice, Franco had a hole in his car.
Yeah. Williams was going crazy during these practices.
And qualifying. But we'll get there.
Williams they were really good. The drivers were good that weekend, but the team wasn't.
Like, what's going on?
I don't know. But also, I think the Ferraris were not meant for Baku because I don't know why I just said that in that accent.
Baku.
Baku.
Oh my god, that was triggering for me.
I don't know why Ferrari wasn't good here, but Carlos also went off, except he saved it.
I have Lance, this is not a car X2. That's one of my notes from the radio.
No, guys,
poor kid.
Lance has had the worst back to summer experience ever. He hates this car. The team's not listening to him. And they're like, well, Fernando's fine. And he's like, yeah, well, Fernando knows how to drive a broken car. Like, Fernando can drive
keyboard smashing.
We'll get there.
Sorry.
We'll get there.
I'm just,
also, Franco hit the wall.
That
wall shouldn't have been there.
F1?
I think that's FP1. He also hit it in FP2, but this one, he had damage.
Yeah, this one was damage. It was...
But
no rear
grip. It jumped out and got him. It's not his fault.
Also, Ocon was really struggling. Baku weekend. He had no power and he just stopped in the middle of the track.
One thing I know, it was in F1
He's
TV
like, no power. Just stopped. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Baku. Somebody please come get this man right now.
I love how it's in F1 TV commentary. Alex Brundle's in the pit lane and he's in front of the Alpine garage. And he's like, I just looked over at Jack Doohan and I put a thumb up and a thumb down asking him what it was like. And then he said, Jack did one of these.
It's like, I've got no idea.
It's so real.
But also, the Mercedes were struggling. Really bad. They were complaining about overheating. Their tires weren't good. But Lewis still got P2. He still got it. Also, Max was complaining like crazy, but the Red Bulls were a lot better this weekend. I thought Checo was going to win. I'm not going to lie. I really thought Checo was going to win.
I was scared. The only reason I knew I figured Checo was going to win was one because he's won there before and he's the only one
really
to have
street.
Yeah, Baku's his strength for sure.
Yeah.
But also I noticed in FP1 when Esteban Ocon went off. I don't know if it was F1 TV or ESPN, but they showed the Mark Webber Fernando Alonso where Mark Webber got into an crash and he just waved Fernando Alonso down and he took a ride with Fernando and I was like, okay, is that how this weekend's gonna go?
They took all the fun out of F1.
Real. They can't swear.
Can't do anything anymore.
They can't swear.
Can't swear. Can't
drive.
Can't do anything.
They can't even have press conferences outside anymore. Like,
can't even walk on an open track. I mean, God.
Bring back real F1.
Bring back real F1.
That's all I have for FP1.
I think we ended it with Max back on top, and then Lewis and Checo, which was
when I saw that, I woke up to that photo and I was like, what?
I said, did everyone else DNF?
Wait a minute.
I'm trying to think back to how I was watching it.
It was early. It was.
I know. I think I was like,
I
had it on my phone, but I was in bed, and I was like waking up and then going back to sleep. I woke up.
It on.
Charles was out. I woke up. Franco was out, and I went back to sleep.
I had it on, and Charles crashed, and so I fell back to sleep, and I woke up to the graphic. I was like, what?
Whoa, what happened?
I had to go to work, so I couldn't watch it right then.
Chapters.
But anyways, FP2, Charles once again went off.
I said, Charles on the radio
then
yapping.
He said, I'm not driving with this car. What is with drivers this weekend? It's this isn't a car. I'm not driving this car.
Also, like, what do you want them to do? Oh, okay. We'll give you the other one.
Give me Räikkönen. Monaco. Let's go.
To the boat.
We forgot. We gave you the bad version of your car. Let's give you the good one we were hiding.
Also, Max, there was a lot of issues with drivers not being able to see because of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And Max almost crashed, and he was like, I can't see with the sun, I'm done.
Me. Honestly,
and then GP came on the radio, and he goes, we have another visor for you. And I was like, you weren't giving him the best visor. Wait, time out. Like, this is a sunset. You gotta give him the best visor possible.
I think it's so funny that they changed the times from last year. They shifted them a little bit to get rid of the sun glare issue. They didn't actually look at the times of the sunset. They just were like, well, it was too bad last year, so we'll just shift it 30 minutes. And it's like, that's not how the sun works, my dude. It's different. Every day, every year. It's different. Like
also,
I know you
like,
set
it's so
a time,
funny because
but
they're like, oh, the sun won't set this time. And I'm like, how do you know that?
Oh, did you tell it?
Like, what?
Did you call it up?
Is the sun aware?
Yeah. It actually knows we're racing, so it's not gonna move.
Okay.
But yeah, also Franco hit the wall again, but there was no damage. So that's impressive.
Anyway, the wall
also
in there. Penalty to the wall.
Okay. Also, my favorite thing from the practices was Gasly blocking Lando, and he goes, sorry, I had a power problem. Meanwhile, he was fully just driving. Like, he just didn't want to get penalized. So he's like, sorry, I got a power problem. Knowing fully well he just was like, oops.
Wait, you saw it on my dashboard?
But besides, Lando did quite well that practice.
Mm-hmm.
Lando did quite well the entire weekend, except qualifying, but that wasn't his fault. So I'm not counting that as his performance because that wasn't on him.
Anyway, Yuki Tsunoda P4.
Lance also was cooking. Lance was also cooking. He remembered. He was like, yeah, I remember I drove a Williams and I got to a podium. What is this?
And everyone knows where the Saubers were. Don't have to look. I don't know. I don't have to scroll down that far. I just know.
It's my intuition.
Poor Sauber.
You're telling me.
The poor Saubers, like, especially Valtteri, who was a race winner. He was a contender for the world championship for a while, and now he's like, I'm just leaving the sport. Nobody remembers I'm here. And I'm like, I do. I do.
I know.
But that's all I have for FP2.
Yeah. I also was watching FP2 in the car, so I was trying to follow along. In and out of service. I was like, what happened?
FP3.
15
all
minutes
I have,
in. Esteban Ocon. Car no work. Likely. That was my exact note.
Can I just say, I feel really bad for those drivers because as much as they're not that good of a driver, like, they deserve at least a car that doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Like they
I think
can't even
everyone deserves a
prove
car
to
that
other
doesn't stop.
teams who are like, yeah, I am worth being re-signed because their cars just break.
I am worth a proper power unit.
Yeah. But
But, you know,
Ollie also crashed. Not his fault.
No, wall shouldn't have been
Nothing
there.
is ever his fault.
Car shouldn't have been a Haas.
We also briefly saw a Williams one too, and I would just like to say,
Yeah.
I said stop the weekend.
I was like,
Yeah.
The Williams were really good this weekend.
Alex was on fire FP3.
Mm-hmm.
he
Yeah.
was
He
also
was
very
doing great.
crappy the last couple weekends. And I
Also,
appreciate that.
this note doesn't make sense, but Checo was impeding somebody.
I said, saw Checo and Sainz beefing. Surely not a tell of
Yeah.
what's to
That's
come.
what it is. I would just like to let you know my note says Perez impeding Checo.
Ah, yes.
Ah,
Nice.
He was impeding himself.
wise-
Likely
in
at
the
that
wise
point.
words of
Me when
Oh,
I'm
by the
Oscar-
way, he would
in the
find
wise
it.
words of
Checo
Oscar
and
Piastri,
Checo.
they were not the best of friends this weekend.
And then
Oh,
also
yeah.
George was P1. He's still got it.
Yeah.
He didn't keep it for very long, but he was
Not
P1 and FP1, FP3.
He did. Didn't he finish second though?
No, in the results, he was 1. And Charles
won.
took 2nd, Lando took 3rd. Oscar 4th, Carlos 6th. Ollie crashed and took 20th. Those are my notes.
Well,
Ollie.
He's innocent.
he's
He's
perfect.
innocent.
It was a Haas.
Poor Ollie. Yeah, it was the car's fault,
Honestly,
not his fault.
He didn't perform during practice, but he performed where it mattered.
Quali.
I have words for Quali. I have words for the FIA.
Because
Can we talk about everything before that?
Yes.
So can I just say, Max hit the wall, and he was in the drop zone forever, and I was like, "What is Red Bull doing?" Because Red Bull doesn't usually do that kind of strategy. Still don't know what they were doing, but he did get through. But also, the person who was cooking was Pierre.
Yeah.
Pierre
I was terrified,
cooking.
bro.
That's all I had besides what Tay wants to talk about, which I will let you guys talk about it.
The Williams.
Because-
the Williams were on
Yes.
fire.
They were. Oh my god.
Woo! I
Both through to
prayed
Q2.
for times like these.
you can't hear the claps, but we are clapping. Can I just say, kudos to Franco, who got into a car he barely knows and does really well. Somebody give him a seat next year. Franco is
Franco
smooth
knows,
with the interviewers.
Franco's smooth with the interviewers, the drivers.
He was
social
asked,
media admin.
who did he grow
Everyone
up
is
watching?
smitten.
And he said Lewis and Seb. And I went, I can tell
We
by
can
the way
tell.
you do interviews. Sebastian Vettel possessed you.
Yeah, Franco's like two seconds away from asking the interviewer if she's gonna wear the red dress he likes.
But anyways, McLaren girls, take it away.
I have beef with yellow flags.
I don't understand.
I have beef
I
with
didn't
the
understand.
FIA. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
Did somebody actually
So
go off?
basically, what happened was Ocon
Likely place for
somehow
him to
lost.
be.
It's always him. It's
So
always
he
him.
somehow lost a
Say
tire
no
somewhere.
more.
Okay, so he somehow lost a tire, and he's
Yeah.
going slow.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They didn't show that on the recap I was watching.
I know.
Out of everything, I wasn't expecting that.
No, literally, nobody,
Yeah.
unless you were like really like looking and watching, like it was not. They'd never.
It was not
I
on the
would- yeah.
mainstream. Like, yeah.
So basically, Ocon somewhere lost a tire. I still don't know where he lost a tire. I think he hit the wall and it came off. I'm not 100% sure. Whatever. So he was limping to the pits. Basically, he was off to the side, so he was letting people pass. Like it wasn't like he was in the middle of the road, like the track or anything, right? Like he was perfectly to the side. And I don't know. Everybody else was fine. Like they got to the turns and whatever and the sections. But I guess by the time Lando caught up to him, right before Lando could like fully pass him and finish the lap, they threw out a yellow flag. The marshal at where they were at threw a yellow flag.
It was
And then it
basically, like,
immediately went back to green, obviously, because then they
Yeah.
showed. But yeah.
It's like if this is like sector 1, this is 2, and then this is 3. Lando was like right here, about to go into the next part, and they still gave him the yellow flag, even though he was like already past it.
It like popped up.
So then he obviously was like
screen,
slowing
so
down.
He lifted.
I saw like the video of the map where he was flying, and then he just like kind of stopped, and I was like,
yeah.
But I feel like that's just not.
At first, I was like, there's no way for Lando to do, and then
there's like no way that they could reinstate it because he didn't actually make a time. But that's just like they should have just gone with his last time.
I know,
because that's not even his fault. Like it's the marshal's
No, he
fault.
he would have gotten through. He was on track to go through. So it really sucked that happened. And I hope
the
that
timing was bad.
And I hope they look at this and it becomes like a learning thing for the FY. Like, you know, I don't know. Like, it just kind of seems like you could clearly tell like Ocon was out of the way. I get it. He had 3 tires. Like he was.
Where the other one went, we don't know.
But he wasn't like stopping on the track. Like he
Welcome back, Kevin Magnussen. 2023.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just.
Yep.
Yeah. All I remember is being at work and getting a notification from, I think it was actually my private, and it was like Lando out ? And I was like, out where? What? Who? Disqualified? What? And then I looked and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It was weird. And then somebody sent me the map, and I was like, okay, that's not his fault. Never mind.
It was rough.
It sucks, like, especially because it literally could have happened to anyone going through there for any like reason, and so it's like, okay,
just happened to be on his like last flyer. Like,
I will say it happened to Fernando Alonso in Monza. I know how you feel, except Fernando Alonso was fighting for one singular point. But I have been there. But anyways, Q2.
Oscar P2 though.
Q2.
One note and one note only. Williams through to Q3.
I have that, and I also have.
It was to me.
I also have. Ollie was better than Hulk.
Yes.
Real.
Which like it's gonna be really funny to see Ocon versus. Isn't it Ocon versus Ollie next year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my! I have a feeling it's gonna be like Alpine with Fernando Alonso and Ocon. Like I actually have a feeling they are going to hate each other. Rightfully so.
I don't know.
On Ollie
That's whose side I'll be on.
Ollie's.
Just an easy pick.
I honestly though, I feel like Ollie, I don't know. I feel like he's the type to, I don't know, just not, especially with his first year. I don't feel like maybe second year. I feel like first year he's learning, like he's learning from his teammate. Because I think he has said before, like he's really excited to learn from Esteban, and like, and I think he obviously he knows going in he's not a first driver, like that's not happening. But he also knows that he can learn, and he's really good in the car.
Learn from who?
I know. I think it's gonna be like a one-sided
he's gonna learn
beef.
what not to do.
What not to do.
I think, I think
Esteban's just gonna be
Ollie's
beefing with him because he's doing better than him.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know that Ollie's gonna be passive and like be like, oh, this is my teammate. Like he obviously knows more. Maybe, but Ocon won't be. If Ollie does something and it's like Ollie was rightful in doing that, and Ocon's like, oh, this little boy. Ugh. Like I feel like Ollie's not gonna be passive in the sense of letting Ocon walk all over him. But I think if Ocon doesn't instigate it, it'll be a passive thing.
I see
at least for now.
Being almost like an Oscar character in that situation where it's like people don't or like gonna count him out as like being like a fighter, but like all the talking will be done on the track. Like, you know, you can tell, and he'll probably have one or two like comments that are like, ooh, like
it's gonna be like when Oscar said,
ate him up.
Yeah.
Was it? I don't remember the exact quote, but he's like, just because I'm quiet doesn't mean I'm nice, or something like that. Like,
or like when he said that, like Max hasn't raced me that much yet. He doesn't know what I can do.
He doesn't know what I'm like on the track. It's like,
also,
oh my god, okay.
I had that, and then I have Williamson.
Yep.
That's all I had for.
No,
I had Mercs were cooking, and then I said literally, because we were complaining it was hot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which is actually really concerning that this is like maybe the 10th time
it's an
both
ongoing
drivers
issue with
have said
Yeah.
it's too
Mercedes.
hot. Like the seat's too hot. It's too hot for me. And they're like, yeah, well, it's the car. Nobody else is having these problems.
Like, okay, fix it.
Terrifying. But anyways,
Remember last year in Qatar when Fernando was like, "Can I come into the pits and you guys throw water on me? My seat's
like,
hot." And they were
"No."
like, "No."
he's like, okay. And then he did
He was
the,
like,
the
"Never
post race
mind."
and he goes, well, everybody else was like, I'm dying. He's like, hi.
He's like, "I'm fine."
He's like, I'm great. But Q3, I said Charles was cooking. That one was for you, Rosie. Charles was
Yeah.
cooking.
I was, yeah.
I
shocked
also,
to-
Lex, do you want to talk about it?
which one?
The Alex?
Are we in Q3 yet?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Lex talk about it. Maybe
How do you
not.
miss a big ass yellow fan? You got eyes.
My
Okay,
favorite
but
How
my
do you
thing is
got
favorite is
eyes?
It,
my
that's
favorite
not
thing
look
is
at
the
it.
fact
job.
the engineer chased after him like he could
That's
chase
his
down
Like,
an
they, like he
car.
started
job.
going, they said, oh shit. Alex realizes it's George's radio of the Williams still has the fan on. I'm like,
And then Oscar gets on and is like, "Alex has something on top of his car."
Alex
And then they
stalls.
went to
He's trying to get, he's like, trying to
There's
like
dry
get
ice
the marshals
behind
to
him.
pull it off.
They're trying to get the marshals, and then it
They're
goes
putting
onto
on
the
gloves 'cause
onboard
they're like,
cam,
"It's full
and
of dry ice.
And
I
then
can't
Alex is just
hold
over
it."
there
Like,
trying to push it off.
they go to the onboard, and they go, "There's also dry ice right next to him," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my lord!"
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were telling him to
Where
push it
was
off
that-
because if
where
the
was that in
marshals would
Singapore?
have, if the marshals would have touched the car at all, it would have had to been a flag.
yeah. They were like, "Throw it on the
And
ground."
so,
It's like,
poor
no.
Alex.
Poor Alex was just like,
He's like, I don't know how to do this.
he's like, "I'm trying. I'm not an
He said,
engineer.
if
I'm
you
not
need
an
things
engineer."
done,
I'm
you
not
do
an
it
engineer."
yourself. Alexander
and Alex
Albon
is
had
with
to
the-
push that fan off himself.
Did he get a fine for that or a penalty?
No.
The Williams got a fine.
I think Williams got a
I
fine.
agree.
But
What I was
Good.
gonna say,
Obviously.
what I was gonna say
Good.
before
I
that
know they
was,
can't
if
afford it,
you-
but
if you see the video, watching the video of them literally, like, I don't know how this miscommunication happened, but like the guy was waving for Alex to come out, and they still hadn't taken the fan off, and the poor guy was trying to take the fan off as Alex was
Got, like,
driving
run
away, and
over.
he almost got run
Chasing.
over, and I was like, oh my god, this is a
I was
whole
at-
disaster and a half.
I was at work and all I was seeing were tweets and none of the videos were loading. Like
Mhm.
Alex almost ran over an engineer. Oh my gosh, who forgot the fan? I was like, what are they talking about? I thought they
Fan
meant
on
like
track.
I thought they meant
Literally.
fan, like a fan.
Oh,
Like, oh, I'm a fan of the
you're
sport.
like,
And I
get
was
her
like,
off the
I was like,
track. Oh my god.
somebody broke onto the track. What? Alex almost hit
Me
a
on my
fan.
way
What?
to eat some tigers.
And then it finally loaded. The tweet you sent, Tay, finally loaded, and I was like, oh. And it was
Yeah.
neon, and I was like, how?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
it is,
did
it's
they forget
literally
that?
neon.
it's like maybe
How?
Lando Norris has a point with that fluoro yellow, because how you missed that?
Literally.
It's literally one guy's
Apparently
job to
very
hold on
easily.
to that and lift. That's it.
Apparently it's very easy to miss fluoro yellow. Apparently.
Guess so.
Unfortunately,
God.
that ruined his lap.
Yeah.
But he did.
Franco
he did
also
start
did
time.
well.
Franco did amazing.
Franco outqualified Alex. Technically, Alex probably would have done better, but fan.
And then we had a Red Bull Mercedes sandwich thing
And
going
then
on.
somehow Alonso. Can I just say this Baku weekend, Fernando Alonso knew Adrian knew he was watching, and he's like, pedal to the metal, I got it.
Locked in.
I got it. Like, I've never seen that man drive so well in the AMR 24. I haven't seen it. I was like, you know what? Good for him. Lance, not so much. But I got words about Lance. But
Hey, listen,
Poor
50%,
Rosie.
You're batting so
real
good.
for Aston Martin, that's pretty good. Everybody, 50% is good. But for Rosie, because she's not here, this was a very 1681 nation top two. Charles and then Oscar.
Then Carlos, woo!
Ferrari sandwich for
Carlos,
Oscar.
you should have been
Poor-
on that
poor
podium.
Oscar.
And then it was Checo.
Oh no, my notes go. It's like been taking pole here. Pia, sigh, and then it says 4 pair in parentheses. Wow? Question mark.
The thing is like everyone was shocked, including myself. But then I thought about it and I was like, he's always been good at Baku. Like,
Yeah.
we should have expected it, but I wasn't expecting it because he hasn't shown it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Which, sorry, Checo, but if you're good at like racing on the streets, Monaco should be good.
Wasn't this
Well,
the race?
Checo, if you're
Wasn't
watching this, turn it off.
Monaco
Hold
for
on.
Checo was
Monaco was
kind of
but-
rough.
wasn't this the race after all of the speculation about
The car
or-
being bad.
No, about or was this?
That's not
No,
speculation.
that was Monza. So the race,
Hold on, let me pull up notes.
Charles started on pole, and he drove quite well.
I will say it was a
For-
really great battle between Oscar and Charles throughout. I'll be honest. It was
Really fun race to watch.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
I
just, like,
love when it's like people are fighting like very far back and people are
Yeah.
also fighting in the front. Like I think
Yeah.
I'm like that's what F1's supposed to be, not like,
Mhm.
you know, crazy
Yeah.
stuff where like P2 is like, dude, I can't catch him. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I can't. Like I just personally like that kind of battle better. I also think it because the cameras only follow the front, and I'm like, excuse me, the front is so far ahead. Go
I'm
to
like,
the back
why
where
did
they're
4
actually
people
fighting.
just swap places in the back? What's going
Yeah.
on there? And they're like, I don't know.
But
it's like when
okay.
somebody DNFs and we don't know until like 2 laps
Like,
later.
They're like, oh,
Yeah,
by the way,
like that DNF,
Joe
I don't
did
even remember.
DNF 6 laps
I think it was
ago. Our bad. And
Ocon
you're like,
once.
Yeah, it was Ocon. He DNF'd, and I looked and I was like, oh, it says DNF. Wait a minute. When was that? And they're like 5
Pierre
laps
at
later. They're like
Silverstone?
5 laps.
when they got on the loudspeakers at Silverstone and went Pierre retiring. Didn't mention him again. And everyone there was like,
Huh?
Did anyone
My dad
did
texted
anyone
me.
get-
Was
why
like,
was he
was like,
Like, did I
Pierre-
imagine hearing that?
No, I think my dad texted me, Gasly retired, and I went, why? And he goes, no idea. And that was it. They didn't even explain it ever. And I was like, wait a
No.
minute.
Speaking of
But,
DNFs, Yuki. First.
Can I just
I don't
say,
wanna talk about
okay,
it.
sorry,
I don't wanna
Haley,
talk about it.
Yuki turned in on Lance. And if you watch,
Have you considered he's so small?
if you watch
He already
the onboard, he turned in.
Wait.
Have
Haley,
you
do you know
considered
that
that you
one
can't
clip?
see him?
The one clip of the guy just like, oh baby, please don't cry, you are way too fat, and then we cry to be so sad. That's what you just sounded like.
Yuki. He can't even see over. He can't see who's in front of him. He can't see over the steering wheel. It is not his fault.
But I would
You
just like to
said
say,
it.
all of Twitter was like, Lance turned in on Yuki, and then Lance fans
Oh,
were like,
fuck.
okay, here's the onboard,
Yeah.
and literally you see Yuki go boom into Lance, and everyone's like, Yuki
Yeah.
shouldn't have DNF'd, it should have been Lance, and I was like,
Oh,
Lance was on the racing line.
Well, Lance
yeah.
did
I feel
DNF,
like
so
Yuki's rights and wrongs, and this
Don't
was
talk
one
to
of
me
the
about
wrongs.
that. Like literally 3 laps later, he's like, I got a
Yeah.
puncture, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna retire the car. I was like, for a puncture?
I was like, put a new tire on him.
I was like, Aston Martin, put me in. I can do better
To be
than
fair,
that.
I did like the dramatic shot to Yuki's side pod when they were pulling him into the pits, and it was just like ripped apart. And I was like, I'm having Baku last year sprint race flashbacks. I'm having George and
So
Max
bad.
fist fighting.
So bad. I'm
I
having
was like,
that
"Ah."
Met Gala Princess George tweet.
Yeah.
But I will also say Lando started, what was it? P15? 16th?
16.
He
Well,
did
no,
very
he's-
well.
Yeah, started 15th
He's-
in the end, I think,
Yeah.
He did
because of all of the
very well.
Yeah. There was a lot of
overtake
overtaking from everyone.
after overtake, baby.
Yeah.
I'm gonna channel my inner
I will also say-
Andrea Stella for that.
I will also say good on him for holding up Checo for Oscar.
They said, hey, can you hold up Checo? And he said, say less. I'm
He
locked
was like,
in.
love
Okay, I'm
it.
sad.
Great.
He said, I love to hear this.
He said, watch
He's
my
like,
moving,
"Woo!"
bitch.
And everyone liked that. Everyone said, wait,
Everyone
Checo held up? Everyone liked that.
Everyone liked that.
Checo
Also-
getting on the radio being like, that's
also-
not fair. He's holding me up. And they're like, Right, it's
well,
racing.
babes, it's
Thank
racing.
you.
My favorite thing is Max complained about something and it was just silent. He was like being kind of whiny and GP just went. And Max went, okay.
I'm gonna let you sit with your thoughts for a second and work this one out on your own.
Run
GP,
that one back.
Max is the toddler. GP is the parent. And he's like, I'm going to try just the silent treatment.
It's
for the
quiet,
first time.
quiet parenting.
Yep.
But
And
He said, I'm gonna let you
Ollie
work that one out really quick.
Ollie Behrman, you are something.
isn't he the
Okay,
first
can I-
F1 driver to score points
Ever.
for two
Yep. On
teams
his
in one
first two
season?
races.
First two.
Yep.
Can I say though, in
Esteban
their
Ocon, watch
standings, they
out.
have him listed the same.
Yeah, I read somewhere
And I
that
was
they.
like-
I read somewhere that they picked the first team that he, and
Yeah,
since
and I
he's
was like,
technically
that
the
is
reserve
not
for,
fair.
yeah.
So
Put him
where's
on
he in
there
the
twice.
Nobody
standings?
can
Places
take that
and give him
stat
2
away.
trophies.
Nobody can
I was
take
like,
that
put
stat
him on
away
twice.
from
I
him.
want to see Bottas be below him twice.
But
on the standings.
Lex,
I
to
would
answer
see
your
Bottas be
question, he is
25.
16th, right above Kevin Magnussen. He has 1 point over Kevin Magnussen. Kevin
I
has
smiled.
6. Ollie
That's
has.
amazing.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Ollie
Wait a minute.
Behrman, I
Pause.
love you.
Wait. Pause. They have him listed under Haas. I thought he was under Ferrari.
So they not only took away him being on there twice, they put him with Haas.
But hey,
He's-
he's
they said-
P16 in a Haas.
Whoa.
I
This
want
is.
everyone to know.
You can't see that.
Everyone to know that Franco
I got
is
flashbacks.
above both Saubers.
He's got
Likely.
4 points. Yeah,
And
he's got
The
3
lizard
races
is
down.
above both Saubers.
I'd like you to know that Logan Sargent is still not dead last in the standings.
Let's go.
I can't
I've
tell
got
if they
small
go
wins,
by
man.
last name or first name.
Huh?
2021, 22. Like, why is Valtteri last?
Oh, it's
Oh.
just finishes. How
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Logan
even if
has
you don't get
finished
points.
higher more than
Got
Valtteri
it.
has.
Got it. Anyways, can I just praise Williams for a second while we're on the conversation? Alex stayed in P5 forever.
I love my
Yeah.
goat.
I don't know if
He-
that's a Williams praise
yeah.
or an Alex Albon praise,
But
but
Alex.
Alexander Albon, you rock my world.
You rock it
Also-
to its core.
I have said this before, but I was like, Oscar is a defensive driver. Like, he's not really an attacking driver. His specialty is defensive driving, which is what we saw this race.
Mm-hmm.
He was
Yeah.
driving
Wow.
so defensively. I was very impressed, and he deserved the win. He deserved
Yeah.
that win.
Yeah.
Also, Max
Happy
was
birthday
really
to
slow.
me.
Max was
Also,
so slow.
Real.
Franco holding up Lewis.
Okay,
I-
can we also-
Franco on
Can we
Instagram
say the
afterwards.
Can we talk about the post-race interview
He
where
was like, "What's that
Lewis
kid's
was
name?"
Lewis was like, it was really good
Yes.
to see all these rookies. Like Ollie was so good, and
What's
I
his
forget the
name?
kid's name. I was like,
They were
oh
like,
lord.
Franco.
And Franco
It's like you
had
only
like
stared
the
at his
love
rear
letter
wing.
to Lewis Hamilton.
It was all the comments. It's like Ollie, like fun race, da 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 da, and then Franco wrote him a poem.
And Ollie above Hulkenberg.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah. I love to see it.
But
I was
And
chanting Willie
Lando-
Goins the whole time.
Lando going over Max, overtaking Max
Mhm.
was pivotal.
Can I just tell you, so sorry, but I was getting Austria back like flashbacks, and I was like, oh no, they're gonna hit each other.
I know.
Oh,
I was
Lord.
like, stay
And
away
guess
from
I
me.
what?
know, I know.
Guess what? Guess who was right behind him? Fernando. And I was like, Lord, Fernando, stop, hit the brakes, don't get involved, don't get involved. I was like,
But
please.
Fernando
I was
loves to
literally
get
like-
involved.
I was like, please.
Fernando gonna
God,
do one thing and that's get
don't
involved.
Get involved.
He literally sees
Fernando
two drivers
always-
getting close to each other.
he's
He's
like,
like,
"Oh, I
I
wanna
should get
join."
involved.
Said,
He's the Fernando's the friend to
was
just be like,
like,
where do
thank
I pull
God.
up?
Thank God Max
He's like,
did
who we
not
fighting?
dive.
And they're like, nobody.
Lando? Thank God Max did not fight Lando, and thank God Fernando Alonso was in a tractor and he was too far away for DRS because he definitely would have hit at the back of Max.
He'd be
I
like,
was like,
oh, I
"Oh,
got you,
no."
buddy. Don't worry about it. He would have hit whoever was in front of him.
But
Going throughout, throughout this race, I was like, wow, when are we gonna have a safety car? I was like, Baku has really showed. When
got
are we gonna have the
words.
safety car? And I was like, oh wow, we only have the 2 DNFs and it wasn't anything major, right?
Oh wow, only
I was so
those.
wrong. I was so
the absolute
so wrong.
whiplash.
I
1 second,
find
my
it.
mom and I were literally standing up. We were like, "Go, Carlos, go!" And then the
Oh,
next
my
second,
mom and I
we
were laying down.
collapsed to the
We were in
ground.
the hotel, so we were like chilling. and we were like, oh hell yeah, like this race is gonna do so well. Like, look, Oscar's like winning. Lando got up so far. Carlos is doing
my
well.
emotions have ever up and down
Yeah.
as fast as they did in that moment.
And then the second that the crash happened, my mom up on her feet, right in front of the TV.
Can I be honest? I thought it was
I was
Charles.
like-
I thought it was Charles. I thought it was Charles and Checo for a second, because Charles was right there. Like, I literally thought, like, for some reason, like, I saw somehow, like, Carlos had got around him, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell, there was so much going on. And then they were like, oh, that's Carlos Sainz. And I was like, oh my
Guys,
God.
Yeah.
I need to find the text. It's so funny. I texted Lynn and Rosie, and I went, Carlos is on the podium, baby. Literally went, I said, Max, it's time to take him out. I think I was talking about Checo. I don't remember because he was getting so close. And I literally went, Forza Ferrari. Not even 2 seconds later, I was so.
Never
And
mind.
also, I have words for Sergio Perez because
I always
I
words.
We
will
all
call
don't
out
we all?
drivers
None of them
when
nice.
they are dangerously driving. There is a difference between recklessly and dangerously driving. Dangerous is Fernando Alonso, Michael Schumacher, Max Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel. They drive dangerously, but when they know they put themselves or somebody else at risk, they back off. Sergio Perez is a reckless driver. He doesn't care who he takes out. As long as he's on the podium, it's fine. And that freaking crash could have been 10 times worse. And everyone's like, he was on his racing line. If you literally look at the onboards, you see Carlos, his steering wheel does not move. And you see Checo go.
The angle that they played
Also,
on
even
the
if it
stream of
did-
like the top view,
Mhm.
because of Checo catching his back tire and making him like, it
He
looks
pit
like
maneuvered
he,
Can
yeah,
I
it
just
looks
tell
like
you,
he turned into him, but he caught
Yeah,
his
he was like
tire.
I have never
Yeah,
agreed
he was like
with
an
DC.
LAPD officer.
I
He
never
just
thought
pit
the
maneuvered him
words.
on the highway.
I never thought I would have said, DC, I love you. But my lord, the moment it
immediately
happened, DC
clocked
went,
it.
Checo, that was Checo. And they're like, are you sure? And he goes, Carlos had
He was
no
like, yeah.
space and he was on the racing line and Checo turned in. And they go, we haven't even, he goes, he turned in. I went, all right, DC,
Yeah.
keep it up, keep it
Listen,
up, keep it up.
Kind of with that
Truth
one.
in his words.
Also, not even just that. Then Checo gets mad and goes over to Carlos and whacks his head.
Before he
in
gets out of the
high
car.
speed crash, by the way.
Yeah.
They had no idea if Carlos was hurt. He never got a confirmation that Carlos is okay, and he goes and whacks somebody's head. I don't care
Listen, I'm all
which
for a
driver
little,
that
like,
was.
Mm-hmm.
give me
A little
what's
bit
his
of a
name? When they punches him when he gets out of the car. I can't think of his name right now. But
Oh,
like I'm all for that. But like
in the car.
don't
though.
wait till he's out of the
wait
car.
till he's out and he's okay. And also, everyone's like, well, that's just like sports. Like that's just like sports. No, it's not.
And a lot of people were trying to put blame on Carlos because of their reactions afterwards. Like, it's Checo like furious and like fully screaming into the mic, and then it's
And
Carlos very
Carlos just
soft spoken
like,
of just
"Wait,
like the what happened.
What happened?
Like everyone's like,
I
oh,
got
because
all
he's
that
so
maneuvered.
quiet, he knows that he's in the wrong. I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
No,
he's
he just-
expressing confusion.
He literally
He-
went.
he
He
Yeah.
quite literally
leading.
does not know what happened.
I was leading. I thought he would have given me space, and all of a sudden I'm in the wall, and Checo was over my head pushing it.
Yeah.
Which, by
Yeah.
the way, I so many people. I tweeted that photo of like the overhead photo where Carlos was this close to the wall, and Checo had like a mile between him and the other wall, and I was like, he
Mhm.
literally had space, and everyone goes, he was on the racing line.
That's what
Okay.
I think. That's what the stewards.
Yeah.
That's why they ruled it a racing incident
Racing
instead of
incident, my
putting blame.
ass.
Is because they realized that Checo could have done a lot more to avoid the crash. They also put a little bit of the blame on Carlos, and it's like Carlos could have also avoided it because he knew he was there. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
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 It's just, it's so frustrating. It's just like Monaco. Like K-Mac, they were
Mhm.
like, oh, it's
Yeah.
a racing incident. I go, Checo could have literally died in that crash.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Carlos and Checo could have died. I don't think that would have happened, but they could have been seriously injured with that high-speed crash and the fact that Checo went over to Carlos before they even made sure he was okay. At
Mhm.
least that should have been penalized. Maybe you can say it's a racing incident, but no athlete should be allowed to go over to somebody who was just into a crash or had an incident or an accident or whatever and whack him in the head before they know if his neck is okay, his back is okay. That's like literally could be career-ending paralyzation.
Drivers are not a contact sport. Only their cars should be the contact sport.
Yeah.
Like, you should not be physically assaulting another driver.
Unless you're pushing them
Let them
gently and getting
box.
angry after they've been checked.
Let them
In the
box
garages.
after the race.
Yeah. Like,
Just don't. Let's not. I don't know if we should do full on brawls like NASCAR does. But I do think
put
a little
boxing
push
ring
here
in
and
there.
there is great.
Pay
I
a premium.
I
have
think
to
calling somebody
disagree. I
Princess
like
George. I think calling
I'm
somebody
fine with
Princess
a couple
George and giving him a little
boxes.
shove.
No, give me a
Like,
little
I'm gonna be
like,
honest.
stupid kick like PK. Like,
Yeah.
I want
I
I want a swing and a miss and a kick and a miss.
But like I'm talking
I want
NASCAR. NASCAR, you get like full on punches and blood
Throwing
is
their
drawn
cars
and
at
like
each other.
I'm fine with a little car part getting thrown. Let's bring that in. Let's come on now.
I will
Real.
say,
Front
though,
wing
Someone
action.
with a wing.
Wing.
I will
Listen.
also say though, this crash led to a lot of people being casually racist to Checo.
Yeah.
Which
was
is
awful.
That is true, yes.
disgusting. But yeah.
And then it brought a virtual safety car, which confused a lot of people. Also,
You know who it
It was just-
confused?
Too close to the end of the.
Nico
Yeah.
Hulkenberg.
No, you know,
And
It,
You know
it
who
kind
it
of reminded me of
confused?
the George crash when they didn't like.
Yep.
that should
Like
have been a red flag
I know
immediately.
it was like even if it was a safety car, like a full safety car, that would have been better than a virtual safety car in my opinion. But I know why they did it, and it wasn't like as bad as George's where he was upside
He
down
was
in the middle of
flipped.
the like that's
Yeah.
way different. And they were off to the side, so it wasn't like. But I don't know. I think
Once
they need
again-
to reevaluate end of race crashes like that.
Once again, guess who was right behind them? This man can't stay out of drama.
Likely place for him to be.
Oh my lord! And
Saw
I will
Fernando
say,
buy a collision. Ain't none, please.
I will say though, he immediately went on the radio and went, "Is Carlos okay?"
But that was a really good race for Oscar.
Mm-hmm. And it was pivotal it was a great thing for McLaren.
Yeah. I know. That was so great.
The
But then-
constructors.
Can I just say
Okay,
before
but
we get into this, can we just say Oscar can never win a race without something happening? Poor Oscar. Like, poor
Never
Oscar has
chill.
never actually fully enjoyed a race win.
He's like,
This poor man.
he said, "Sorry, they're in the wall. I won though."
Yeah.
It did make me a little nervous going into IndyCar though, because Aero McLaren and McLaren F1 can never do well on the same day. So I was like, "Oh, there goes my day." But I was very excited for Oscar. It was such a good race for him.
I was so mad about Checo and Carlos. I was so mad because people were like, "Oh, it's Carlos's fault." I was like, I'm furious. I can't even be happy for Rosie because it was Oscar, Charles, and George, right? That was the podium.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
I was like, wait a minute.
second.
I know. I had to think. I was like, wait a minute. That wasn't right.
I was like,
But Rosie was like, "I'm the happiest girl in the world. This is my podium." And I was like, I'm gonna cry. I hope Carlos is okay. And I hope something happens because that's just such a dangerous thing. And she goes, "Anyways, I got my podium." And I was like, Rosie. But I was very happy for her.
yeah.
I literally don't think
lost.
anybody else loved that podium more than her. Like, that
No.
is her top three. If anybody doesn't know, Oscar,
I-
Charles,
yeah.
George, her top three. She would go to war for any of those people.
I love
Yeah.
the post race interview and like George just like I didn't expect to be here.
He's like, I should be here.
At least
but
he's
I am.
honest.
No, he was very like, this should
Can I
not have
just
happened.
say, a lot of people do not like George, but he is one of the funniest people because he just bluntly says what he thinks.
I'm trying to pick up rubber, but all I'm finding is leaves. I can't stop saying it. I cannot stop saying it.
Not that being your vocal
Also,
stim.
the freaking Mercedes skibbity-boo-doo toilet.
Why they got him to say skibbity toilet? I don't know. I don't know.
So bad.
Tweeted
So
George
bad.
trying to communicate with Kimmy next year, and it was like real.
It's giving
He's like,
that
you think
like,
Kimmy's
how
gonna
are
teach
we
him how to do
doing,
Justice
fellow
Impress on Roblox?
kids?
Post 28, George.
He would kill
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Anyways, that is all I have for the race.
Yeah.
I have
I-
Williams.
Yeah.
Couple Williams points.
Williams.
That was awesome.
And Bermoyne.
Yeah.
Bermoyne and Williams.
Yes.
Race over.
Oh, we also had this Lando being Gossip Girl on the last lap. Because Max thought they were done with the virtual safety car, so he drove up to congratulate everybody, like drive by and wave, and Lando went, "He's passing under the safety car."
That made me so mad.
I said me.
To be fair,
I said that's me.
to be
Zach,
fair,
can you do that?
to be
said,
fair
"What's he
though,
doing?"
like they were already gonna be checking. There were like 3 other people that did it, so they were already
Yeah.
they were already on it. It's just really funny that Lando got on the thing
Like,
because
I
Max
was
was
like, what is he
the
doing?
same
Max was
thing.
just trying to say like hello to everyone, and Lando's like, "You're not supposed to be here." I was like, "Lando, don't snitch on your friend."
No one
Max
knew
would
what was
do the
going
same
on.
thing though. That's
Like,
what's
No,
so
Max
funny
would.
about it. That's what's so funny about it.
Except
Is
the
Max
thing
would
is
immediately
Max-
do it back.
Can I just say immediately Max would be on the radio going, Lando's right next to me. He's not supposed to be there. Like at least Lando waited a little bit. Max
and then
just
post
would have
race,
been like,
Lando was just like,
"Excuse
I
me."
was just
Max was,
confused.
like,
Like I didn't
slamming the
know. I
radio
would just
button.
wanted clarification.
But
Yeah.
also,
oh my God.
can we just talk about the fastest pit stop?
Kick Sauber.
Congratulations.
Sauber again.
Again.
We all
Hey,
said they need help.
something to celebrate.
They
like,
need a
Can we
win.
just say at the beginning,
Small
like
victories,
Bahrain,
come
when
on,
they had
keep
like
saying
that
that.
freaking 20-second pit
Oh
stop,
my god.
and we were like, somebody
most
needs to tell them
improved
to
of the year
practice
for sure.
pit stops.
I
All of a
can't wait for
sudden,
that
pit
tops
stop-
card.
It's the only place
Yes.
they've improved.
So thank you for joining us as we recap the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. A lot happened in the last lap. Oh boy. Congratulations to Oscar for his second win. Very well deserved, and we loved seeing you celebrate it the way that you should have celebrated it. Come back next week when we'll be recapping Singapore. As a Carlando girl, I'm hoping for the best.
Woo!